Swiggy has always been employee first, whether it's the future of work mandates, the ESOP liquidity program, or their inclusive benefits. In conversation with us today is Girish Menon, Head of HR, who walks us through what makes Swiggy an excellent place to work at and how his remote work mandate is working out for him. Hi Girish, thank you for joining us.
Hey Priyanka, thanks for having me.
Great, so let's get started. It's been a long journey with Swiggy for you, and when you started there were very few employees, and up until today that's scaled massively. Take us back to the time and tell us about those anecdotes, the struggle back then.
I did join Swiggy pretty early, and I've seen 4 distinct phases of Swiggy. The first was who is Swiggy? People didn't know about Swiggy when I joined, and then there was a phase when will Swiggy survive? It was for a couple of years. Third was a phase where I don't mind having coffee with Swiggy. People started noticing us, started having chat with us. And then the fourth phase where we'd love to join Swiggy. And it's been a crazy ride, to be frank. All these phases have different set of activities that we had to do. But one thing which has been constant is that we've always been an employee first company and a values driven company. The values that we have now is almost 5 years old. And for a company which was pretty young back then, the seriousness with which we went with the values, the creation of values is impeccable. And I think that's the bedrock of our culture today.
Right. Speaking about the employee first culture that we have over here, over the last 2.5 years, the pandemic has largely dictated how work changes or how work has changed. And Swiggy has been one of those few companies who's focused on, the focus has been employee first. And that shows in the mandates we worked upon as well. So if you can talk us through why and how we came up with these 3 mandates in the first place.
So I think firstly, nothing transformed the corporate world from a remote first perspective like the COVID, right? It really transformed the way we thought about it. I think largely the offices were imagined from a physical spaces. Of course, we have a lot of learnings from the industrial revolution and the whole factory setup, right? So the whole Kaizen, Pokai, Yoke, the continuous improvement from the Japanese, all of that had a lot of physical connotation. I think towards the 2000s when the Y2K or the dot-com bust or the boom happened, the whole sector started looking at remote working differently. But I don't think there were many companies which really embraced it, right? Until this COVID happened and it forced all of us to get into COVID, the whole remote work scenario, right? So we were one of the first companies to go remote first because we are employee first. And then what we realized through that period is we had certain basic necessities or requirements to make remote first work already in place. Right? For example, the IT infra was already in place. We had a very strong culture of trust and autonomy in place. We had already invested in managerial capability of managing people with respect and like an adult. Right? Those were things in place. Like even when we were in office, we never had a punch in, punch out. We never had a, I will track your time kind of system. We always operated with a lot of trust, and that kind of made it very easy for us to transition from a physical world to remote world. So we were thinking what will really work for us as a company. And one thing which was clear is that it's not going to be one stroke for all, right? It is horses for courses. That's something which dawned upon me, the leadership, pretty early. And then we started thinking about what should future of work really look for us. So we started talking to people. We almost interviewed, surveyed more than 1,500 people at Swiggy and understood their perception, understood their preferences about what should the world look like. And then we came back, we had a work stream working on future of work, and we looked at all the data which came in. And then a couple of things which we kept in mind is, one, we'll have to be flexible. That's the underlying theme of future of work. And second, it has to be relevant. Right? We weren't doing anything to be sensational about it. Yeah. We want to do something which is relevant for people, which is employee first, and it has to be relevant for business, which is business first. And hence, after all this spade work which happened, we came up with these 3 mandates of mandate 1, mandate 2, and mandate 3. Mandate 1 is where people work 2 to 3 days in a week in office. The rest they can work from anywhere. This is largely for roles which are on the field, which is partner facing. Mandate 2 is where people come 1 week to 10 days in a quarter to office. And this is more around the corporate folks, the tech folks, the business folks in the central functions, all of those. And then the mandate 3 where people need to come to office regularly because they are working on field on a daily basis, like fleet manager, for example, right?
All right. The general discourse around the future of work is that it has a lot to do with productivity, whether, sometimes people feel like if we go away from office setup, would that affect productivity? What has your observation been so far about the entire work from home situation?
I think it's less about office or no office. People are used to physically seeing people every day, and they think they have better control if people are in office. So it's a mindset issue, right? As long as you have a culture where you trust people, I think you can allow people to work from anywhere.
Yeah.
So underlying the trust that we had as a culture is something that really helped in deciding the future of work mandates that we have. And you'll be glad to know that one of the largest businesses which is growing now, Instamart, literally did boom remotely, right? So all of the teams were working remotely and made this happen, right? So magic did happen when people were working from wherever they were, right? So there's no particular reason why work will happen only in office. As long as you can trust people, I think future of work can be one of a remote first culture.
Right. Working from home anywhere has its perks, but what are the areas that you think need further, work to be done on? How can we make that experience completely seamless for our employees?
A few things we are focusing on. First would be well-being, right? So we have a program called Built Around You, which we launched a few years back.
Yeah.
So it focuses on physical, mental, financial, and legal wellness. I think the whole mental wellness and general self-development becomes very important in the remote world, because in a physical world, we tend to see people on a daily basis, so we get a sense of what's happening. In the remote world, it does get to a point where it becomes a little transactional. So we're focusing on the wellness aspect. That's number one. Secondly, we have 3 Bs, I would call it: bonding, building, and believing. Those are areas that we are working on. So the whole ability to take pulse remotely, and the HRBP is working with the business folks to really understand people on the ground. That's the second aspect that we're working on. Third aspect is when you're working remotely, there's also chance of knowledge asymmetry, right? So it's not just top down or bottom up, but even through the networks that you operate, right? So we are building more asynchronous ways of working. How do you really transfer knowledge from one pocket to another? That's the third aspect that we are working on. Fourth is in general the ability to be more inclusive, because when you're remote first, people are working from anywhere. People are also working from office, right? So you don't want anyone to feel one is better than the other, right? And you don't want to have a bunch of people physically speaking and somebody sitting at home and feeling like, oh gosh, I should have been there, right? So that's something that we're working on to be more inclusive. So there is mindset, tool set, and skill set required to become more inclusive, and that's something that we're investing in.
Right. I'm going back to this employee first thing, because you're not just talking about it, but actually doing something about it. Even if you're taking up the ESOPs liquidity program or the BYOD, Build Your Own Dollar program. Tell us a little about that. It seems like it's one of the first that companies are pushing for their employees to actually do better. Can you talk us through that?
Like I said, we've always been employee first, and we've already done 2 rounds of liquidity. But what was not there in the market is predictability towards liquidity, right? So that's something that we really wanted to build, because then people can plan their finances, investments, if they want to participate in it. So I'm glad that there's wealth creating opportunity that we have, and it's more predictable, and people can look forward and plan their lives better. On the BYOD bit, it was important because we give ESOPs for junior middle management and above in the company. So there was feedback that people wanted to be a part of the growth story via the equity vehicle, and we wanted to allow people to participate in it. So we've opened it for people, and they can invest a part of their salary into owning ESOPs at Swiggy.
Right. Going back a little about taking a step back, this great resignation has been around for a while now. It's almost become a cliche, but it still continues. And companies are doing whatever they can to retain employees and to keep that talent. What is Swiggy doing, to retain its talent and help them grow better?
See, firstly, we weren't impacted by great resignation as much. Frankly, our attrition has been better than the last year in many pockets, right? So I think the great resignation just created a hype in people's mind, and people did leave for multiple offers and larger offers, etc. But I truly believe that even when people leave for an offer, they do come back to the company for culture. And there are a lot of people who come back to Swiggy, right? So firstly, we haven't really had an impact of great resignation as much. Having said that, on the development side, we've always been investing in people. So, for example, we had this whole leadership development journey which happened. We launched our learning wallet last year, where people can own their learning. They can, buy any course. They can join any universities to do certain courses again. That's something that we launched, and we've now expanded that from learning wallet to learning and development wallet, where even physical wellness is a part of it, right?
Right. So how has this hybrid form of work been for you? Are there some things, that you weren't able to do before, but now you can?
For one, it saves 3 hours of commute for me. So I think more than the FOMO, which is fear of missing out, there's the JOMO, the joy of missing out the traffic. So clearly it's JOMO greater than FOMO with this. So I think there are multiple people who are able to do stuff, right? I know of people who are staying with parents, spending time there. I know of people doing certain courses which they couldn't have done in the physical world. I know of people taking care of their babies, newborn babies, because they have extended time at home. All of this happening with them being more productive, right? So I think it's a great win-win for Swigsters and Swiggy. That's the way I look at it. For instance, thanks to Remote First, I worked out of a small village in Kerala, hinterlands of Kerala, which I've never done. So almost half a month I could work out of there. It was a great experience to be living and working out of a village. So it's a pleasant memory I have of last 6 months of the future of work mandate.
So Swiggy celebrates its 8th anniversary this year. It's been 8 long years. Some great memories, some lessons learned. Tell us about them both.
Lessons learned is there's never been a single year where we could have told that, okay, we've arrived. There's constant need to learn, improve ourselves, think what's right for the customer. The biggest lesson is this is a journey, and we can't be complacent. That's the largest learning. A lot of good memories. The first time we hit 300K orders, a great memory. The fact that that we were able to meaningfully deploy so many lakhs of delivery partners and impact livelihoods. That's a great memory. Also, the support that we could give to small restaurant partners, more than a lakh people, especially in this time of pandemic. I think there's a large impact that we've created from a business to the larger ecosystem. That's the largest impact that anyone can be happy about.
Then thank you so much for your time, Girish. It was great to have you here.
Thank you.